I love the tweet, if you don't love our country, get out, leave. If you complain about our country, go to somewhere, go experience somewhere else in the world. I've seen a lot of the world, right? We have it so great in America. America is doing so well. We're the best at absolutely everything.
There we have it. Eric Trump, who we've heard on this program, defending his father on the tweets.
The yeas are 240. The nays are 187. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The House, hopefully, has come together, standing as one, to denounce the White House's xenophobic attacks on our members, on our people, and to defend the values of America.
Well, the president's not a racist. The president's not a racist. And I think the tone of all of this is not good for the country. But it's coming from all different ideological points of view. That's the point. To single out any segment of this, I think, is a mistake.
I think what President Trump did was just despicable. To appeal to the worst in human instincts, to divide America, is not what any president has done.
These are the same people who said abolish ICE, abolish the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, these are the radical positions they have taken.
There we have it from Jim Jordan, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. A lot going on in the House. We'll get to that and your phone calls at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Hey, we've got Al Green. No, not that Al Green. He's a congressman. His name's Al Green.
I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, of high misdemeanors.
There we have it. Let's go to the phones. Bill joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Bill.
High misdemeanors. That's really great.
Bill,
What's
it's
up,
been
Kevin?
a while.
Well, things are just getting a little more chaotic, aren't they?
They are. This is right up your alley. By the way, I have to say something to you, Bill. Now, this is really inside, but I'm sure you saw that post by the IdahoConservatives.com. And it was like people that listen to this show, it was a post that they posted about Greg Pruitt. They posted about somebody else. They posted about our friend Tom Munns. And I'm going, man, I can't wait to hear what Bill has to say about that.
Well, I think that, if you give people enough rope, they hang themselves. I think that's what we're witnessing with the Republicans. We're also seeing that with the Democrats. That's what we're also seeing with the Republicans as well. This proves the fact that, we have to really understand that part of the left's dynamic that the right is actually falling into, or the conservatives establishment, is that they're in control of what the meaning of words are and how dangerous that is to liberty. I mean, I've talked about this before, where you talk about, what the word conservatism means. People say I'm a conservative. I'd be really, really careful about that, because most people that say that believe that conservatives is a standalone term that doesn't have anything else linked to it. What they fail to realize, or what they might not remember, is neoconservatism is a form of Trotskyite-style Marxism. And so what you're actually dealing with is an infiltration of the Republican Party, which most of the establishment Republicans actually are. So that's why words are super, super important. And if you're going to call yourself a constitutional conservative, you might want to understand what the Constitution actually means in order for you to be able to defend your position. As for the Idaho conservatives, they're clearly an entity to distract, dissuade people from, and further confusing. And anything that really advocates for confusion is along the lines of the communistic revolutionary.
All right, Bill, you've gone off the track. Let's get back to the meat and potatoes. That's egg souffle here. Let's get back to the meat and potatoes of this. We have people saying the president's a racist, the House denouncing him, Nancy Pelosi. You've got Omar, Iliad, and all those other folks. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, when they're going to use words like xenophobia, I think they love big words. I don't think they know what they mean. And I had to look it up because it's such a goofy word anyway. And it says a dislike for prejudice against people from other countries. What about people that don't like the country they're in? I mean, these people are advocating, it isn't a question of whether we or he doesn't like people from other countries. He's fine with other people from other countries. What he doesn't like is people from other countries that come here that don't like America, that are part of the plan to collapse it. And so I think a lot of it is that we as conservative listeners and stuff like that, we get caught up in the chaos and we complain and we do all that. But what we should be doing is lifting ourselves above and taking a bird's eye view and not getting ourselves involved in the chaos, but looking at necessarily how dangerous what they say it is and how inconsistent it is with Americanism. And I think as long as they've got us circled in the cesspool of chaos, we're going to find ourselves unwilling to be able or unable to get out of it the faster it begins to swirl. So I'm really, really concerned about that. I'm trying to be able to offer, reason and common sense. And Liberty Linda had talked about, common sense and all that anyway. And how are we allowing and all what common sense is and all of that? Well, we're living in lawless America. We've gotten more laws than we've ever had, and somehow we're involved in more chaos. And people are not involved in trying to find solutions per se. Overall, they want to be able to live from one day to the next and maintaining the control that they have over other people. And these are the kinds of people that are running our state and running our country. I mean, I was called by the Republican establishment, people that believe like I do are the enemy. I mean, think about what I'm saying here. This is in Idaho. These are people in our legislature, and these are people that are in positions of law enforcement and law creation that are saying that anybody that doesn't believe like them is the enemy. This is in Idaho. So if you want to believe
let's get back to Idaho for a minute, Bill. By the way, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. How do you see the legislature season shaping up? Now, this is the summer. Everybody's doing their meetings, but you've got the letters to the new Boise State president from the conservative lawmakers. Still no word on the repeal of the grocery tax. What do you think is shaping up in the hallways of the establishment?
Well, as much as I spend time in there, and which to be honest, I don't. What I can tell you is what I've witnessed that's consistent over the last 15 years of my involvement, and that is incrementally increasing the amount of strength and power and control in maintaining their position to be able to control the people that they claim to serve. They've got no inclination in getting rid of the tax because they believe that the tax, according to a cost-benefit analysis, according to several of our legislators that were talking in commerce meetings, they said that we're not going to get rid of the grocery tax because it's good for the economy, because when people are here in the summers and they're touristing and in the winters and skiing and all of that, we make a great amount of revenue on that. But what they're not realizing is they're not serving the taxpayers that way by forcing taxpayers to be able to pay something that has an economic boom on a different part of the spectrum. So, I see them, as far as the administrative rules and all of that going on. I mean, we've got bureaucracies, that are implementing policy without a enactment clause that's outlined in our.
All right, Bill. This isn't Constitutional 101. I appreciate it. I'm out.
Me too, buddy.
You're speaking over my head, but I love you, Bill.
Love you too, man.
Thank you. Our great friend. Bye-bye. Sorry about that, Bill. Our great friend, Bill. What a nice young man. Been with us from the very beginning.
They're so focused on going after this president, so focused on actually getting to impeachment, I believe that they're not going to stop at anything, even if it means breaking the rules on the House floor, where there is a certain level of decorum that you must maintain. The Speaker of the House didn't do that. Her words should have been taken down, should have been removed. Unfortunately, what she ended up doing, even though the parliamentarian ruled in our favor, ruled in Mr. Collins' favor, she just wound up having a vote, and the Democrats all voted with her.
There we have it. So Nancy Pelosi calls the president a racist. That's against the rules, but the rules don't matter to the Democrats. Speaking of the Democrats, at 580-5436, they're calling for the president's impeachment.
I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States of high misdemeanors.
Well, you know, I'm starting to miss Paul Ryan.
Resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is unfit to be president, unfit to represent the American values of decency and morality, respectability and civility, honesty and propriety, reputability and integrity, is unfit to defend the ideals that have made America great, unfit to defend liberty and justice for all, as extolled in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And there we have it, all over a tweet. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And the media, I don't know if you want to call them pond-sucking whatever, they're coming up with these names now for these 4 congresswomen, calling them the Squad. Well, earlier today on the CBS show this morning, Oprah Winfrey's best friend, Gail, interviewed the Squad. Now, again, I'm sitting back and thinking about this. When you're talking about the Squad, to me that marginalizes these women like they're some type of group or something, some type of girl band, if you will.
There is no bottom to the barrel of vitriol that will be used and weaponized to stifle those who want to advance rights for all people in the United States.
Now, remember, this is Ocasio-Cortez that doesn't know the 3 branches of government. You have others that have been accused, and David Horowitz documented it on this program this week on KIDO Talk Radio, doing fundraisers for Hezbollah, Hamas. You've got Omar, who in fact should have been denounced, should have been censored by the House for her anti-Semitic remarks. You've got the other one, Presley, I believe her name is, and we played the clip for you. Maybe we'll get it for you again, saying that she's tired of quote, black faces, not having black voices. That's not racist. It's the incredible double standard that we've been trying to put a spotlight on since we've been here on KIDO Talk Radio.
I love the tweet, if you don't love our country, get out, leave. If you complain about our country, go to somewhere, go experience somewhere else in the world. I've seen a lot of the world, right? We have it so great in America. America is doing so well. We're the best at absolutely everything.
There we have it, 580-5436. So we have Cortez on one side, Eric Trump on the other, the House breaking into a Royal Rumble, if you will. And really it comes down to this. And we saw this under Barack Obama. Obama, I'm going to go apologize to the world. I'm going to go bow to the Prime Minister of Japan. I'm going to show everybody that America is a third-rate country. And what happened 8 years after Obama? President Trump was elected. He's standing up for people, but some say he's gone too far, including Mitt Romney. Now, what can and can't you say in America today? I think we'll find out next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Mitch in Caldwell. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
And to you.
Hello?
Yes. You're on the air, brother.
Okay. Yeah, I was listening to your previous guest, and I thought he had made a really good point about, this bird's eye view, trying to stay above the fray type of thing right now, because it is really easy to get upset and angry about what's going on, and just a constant barrage of, negativity coming from the left. And then the thought struck me that really is their goal. They've got nothing to show for. His base is growing. Donald Trump, his base is growing bigger every day. And if they try to push this pointless, I guess, this effort for impeachment, they've been talking about it for months. If they do pull the trigger on that, that's going to galvanize, his base. And I keep reminding myself when I get kind of angry with them, or, it just seems so stupid and counterproductive when there's so many good things that are going on. It's just that he did beat her 306 to 232. That's a shellacking. And if that, I don't see them being able to put anything up that's going to threaten that, that wave. And we have a good economy. And I guess I'm just trying to sort of really, it's hard, they do what they do. It's really hard if, for a thinking person to see what they've got. And there is another shoe that's going to drop yet. We still are waiting and waiting and waiting. But I do believe that when, the causes of the Mueller investigation and how that all started is brought to light, and I guess there's a report still due out. Inspector General, I guess there's a timing issue. I believe that Donald Trump is a lot smarter than people ever give him credit for. If you look back at how things have gone so far, he always seems to be 2 or 3 jumps ahead of these clowns. And when things like this happen, when he come out and he made this statement about this squad of poor silly women, and they're saying now that, well, that was racist and blah blah blah. They've shot themselves out of bigot bullets. I'm really tired of anybody who has conservative or right-leaning thought or constitutional or grounded in constitutional thought is now being considered hateful in some way. And I don't know. That was just my observation. But your previous guest really got me to thinking about staying above the fray. Stay focused on the prize. And if everybody gets out and they vote, when it's time to vote, I'm hoping to see an earthquake.
A good one. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. Kevin Miller in the morning. We go to the publisher of the Gem State Patriot, Tea Party Robert, on KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, Mr. Miller, I'm going to venture down to the Treasure Valley and see how the traffic is again today.
Wow.
But I have a few comments. First, Nancy Pelosi pontificating about the Good Samaritan is like a pot calling the kettle black. Here's a woman who votes continuously to allow the killing of unborn babies and is condemning President Trump for criticizing 4 representatives for their reprehensible comments about our country and our Israeli allies. Nancy Pelosi, she reminds me of when I attended the Catholic Church, my girlfriend at 15 years of age, and we watched this woman wearing a mink coat each week as she would jingle her keys over the brass collection plate so everyone would think that she's dropping a lot of money. Big phony. These are the phonies trying to be the self-righteous by condemning a president for going after what most of us would consider un-American comments. I don't think anyone would miss any of the 4 representatives if they left this country tomorrow. The media are once benefiting from this diatribe by the Democrats, and I, for one, have decided not to participate in this charade by turning off any station on the radio, TV, or social media that is spewing these venomous comments about the country and continuing this horse manure story. I urge everybody who has any conservative values left at all to do exactly the same thing. Don't give them an audience. If they don't have an audience, they have nobody to preach to.
Well, we want to drive people to this show because we love having an audience.
Well, Kevin, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about...
No, I'm just being a little self-serving during your rant.
Well, you're perfectly welcome to do that.
Thank you.
It is your show, after all.
Well, no, it's the corporation show. I'm just the gatekeeper or the keeper of the flame.
If you don't cut off these people, if you don't stop listening to them, they're going to continue to do what they do.
Yeah.
You just have to stop listening to them and don't give them that audience that they look for constantly. Look what's happened to CNN and their ratings and all of ththose programs. Yeah. People have been dropping off little by little.
Well,
cut them off. Get rid of them. I hope you have a wonderful day today. And would you please get it a little cooler down in the Treasure Valley for me? I got a lot of work to do.
All right, Tea Party Bob, running wild in the Treasure Valley. We'll see you.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good day.
Thank you. There you have it, the pride of New Meadows, Idaho. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. That's 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Let's find out what's happening in your world from our friends at Channel 7. Good morning, Maggie.
It was interesting to me, and I spoke out about this, that on Sunday in Catholic masses, and I don't know beyond that, the gospel of the day was the gospel of the Good Samaritan. A person asked Jesus, "What do I have to do to enter the kingdom of heaven?" And Christ replied, "Love thy neighbor as thyself. Show mercy."
There we have it. The Speaker of the House, right before all heck broke loose. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, your home for Fox News Radio right here in the Treasure Valley. Joining us now from that very Capitol Hill, Rachel Sutherland. Rachel, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
So here we have a confirmation hearing for the next Secretary of Defense, and yet yesterday it looked like something we'd see out of, I don't know, the UFC or MMA on the House floor.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Jerry Springer. Yeah, these things got really out of control over this resolution to condemn President Trump's remarks about 4 minority female members of Congress. Ultimately, they did pass a resolution condemning the president's remarks, but it wasn't without a raucous affair to start out with, to the point where the lawmaker overseeing the House, that was Democrat Emanuel Cleaver, actually did a gavel drop and abandoned the chair because they were fighting over whether House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's comments on the floor saying that the president's comments are racist broke the rules. Republican Doug Collins got up and asked that her words be stricken from the record. Ultimately, Democrat Steny Hoyer did rule that Pelosi's comments were out of order, but they were not stricken from the record, and the resolution passed. There were 4 Republicans who switched sides and voted with the Democrats, and 1 independent voted for it as well. So basically passing along party lines. The president this morning tweeting that he's happy that the Republicans stood by him. So he's feeling, I guess, vindicated by this, but he's kind of continuing his attacks on what they call the squad.
Well, and they're firing back as well, and then you've got Al Green saying he wants to drop the impeachment stuff, and we're thinking about confirming a defense secretary in the Senate. Different worlds, and as you know, Mitch McConnell asked what happens if his wife should be sent back. Usually this is the slow time of year, but not with this president.
Not with this president, not with this town right now. Mark Esper yesterday went before the Senate Armed Services Committee for his confirmation hearing. He's been Army Secretary. He's been serving as acting Defense Secretary. Before that, he was an executive at Raytheon, the defense contractor, for about 8 years. So that did cause a bit of controversy in this hearing yesterday, especially with Senator Elizabeth Warren, who pressed him on whether or not he would recuse himself from matters regarding Raytheon. He just said that he would live up to his commitments for ethics. Didn't really satisfy her. But I think when it comes down to it, Kevin, you're going to see Esper confirmed as the next defense secretary. Lawmakers have been anxious to get a permanent secretary in ever since Mad Dog Mattis stepped down in 2018. So they've been a while without a permanent secretary, and with tensions all over the world, and particularly with Iran, that's becoming something that more and more lawmakers are concerned about.
Right. It seems like forever since Mad Dog Mattis was in.
It does, doesn't it? It's been a long time, and of course, this did not work out with Shanahan, Patrick Shanahan, because of his problems. I guess he had a domestic incident, so he had to withdraw. I think he really wanted that job. When it came down to it, it looked like it was going to be too touchy for getting him confirmed. This is a different situation with Esper. I think he'll move forward and be able to be the defense secretary. He did speak about Iran as well, saying that we don't want war with Iran, that he favors diplomacy, and he mentioned something the Pentagon is looking at called Operation Sentinel, and this would be a presence in the Gulf of Oman and the Gulf region to keep an eye on Iran to see if it's up to any nefarious activities.
Well, we'll take your word. You're not up to any nefarious activities.
Not right now, no, but I'll have to think of some.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Kevin.
Rachel Sutherland joining us exclusively here on KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning.
I was just going to give the General Speaker of the House if she would like to rephrase that comment.
I have cleared my remarks with a parliamentarian before I read them.
And take it. Can I ask the words be taken down? I make a point of order. The gentlewoman's words are unparliamentary and ready to be taken down.
The chair will remind all members, please do not make comments toward personality-based comments. The gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
I made a point of order that the gentlewoman's unparliamentary and request they be taken down.
Is the gentleman making a demand that the words be taken down?
I request that the gentlewoman's words are unparliamentary and request that they be taken down.
All members will suspend. The clerk will now report the words.
And there we have it. No, we're not talking about adding the words. You're wondering what the Speaker of the House said? Here it is.
Every single member of this institution, Democratic and Republican, should join us in condemning the president's racist tweets. To do anything less would be a shocking rejection of our values and a shameful abdication of our oath of office to protect the American people.
There we have it. 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
The House, hopefully, has come together, standing as one, to denounce the White House's xenophobic attacks on our members, on our people, and to defend the values of America.
Right. Of course, the four members, we can go over the list. Two of them have raised money for Hamas and Hezbollah, thanks to David Horowitz. Another one said, another one failed to denounce Al-Qaeda. Wasn't censored for her anti-Semitic remarks, blatant anti-Semitic remarks. Now there's a controversy involving if she married her brother or not. Google it. Omar and her brother. Controversy there. I'm just asking the question. Tess, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hi. Excuse me. In listening to some of these comments from Ms. Pelosi, it reminds me a lot of when I was probably in my early 20s, late teens. I don't know if you recall, people used to drive around with all the stickers that said, America, love it or leave it. So, I think about that a lot with the refugees because, God tells us how to handle strangers. And there's a lot of things in the Bible about it, but I sure hate it when I hear people trying to give Bible lessons who I'm confused as to how much they're confused. And when Mrs. Pelosi brings up different statements made by different people in the Bible, I think that that's really unfair to people. So when she talks about
I think it's unfair to the Bible.
Well, certainly. It certainly is. And so when she talks about the Good Samaritan, these are different conversations. So the Good Samaritan, this is Jesus talking about a parable about how to treat your neighbor, who the real neighbor is. And then when she talks about, love your neighbor, well, that's God talking to, I think it was Moses. Those are rules of conduct. And then something that perhaps really relates to her. Out of Matthew, she's talking about what must I do to get to heaven. Well, folks, this is Jesus talking to what they thought was a rich man or a wealthy person. And it has to do with works and faith. And he said, what do I need to do? And Jesus said basically, hey, follow the 10 Commandments. Then go home and give away and sell your things. Give things to the poor. And the rich man left basically crying. And he said, and follow me. So when all of these are taken out of context, don't you really have to look for the truth? But at least one thing I know what the Bible does do is that it's a code, and it's a code of conduct. And so here's one thing. God does know how to deal with liars, grumblers, instigators,
On
false
one hand,
accusers.
you can't quote the Bible, you can't quote the Good Samaritan, and then all of a sudden say somebody's a racist.
Right, right. And you can't say that these are all in one line. You can't read one line and then exempt the second. You can't say that one conversation that you're giving an audience is actually a conversation between multiple different people regarding different things.
Tess,
I guess only God knows. You know what?
Tess,
You know, Mr. Miller, here's one thing I would like to say. God gives us all gifts and talents. And I sure hope that when I die and I stand before the Lord, I hope he says, here's your list of talents that I gave you. And I can look at that and say, yes, I use those. I use those. Thank you for those gifts.
Tess, thank you for the call. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio.
I love the tweet, if you don't love our country, get out, leave. If you complain about our country, go to somewhere, go experience somewhere else in the world. I've seen a lot of the world, right? We have it so great in America. America is doing so well. We're the best at absolutely everything.
Max in Garden City, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, Kev. It shows how far we have fallen when we can listen to communist pigs in the Congress daring to quote from the Bible. The Bible is the furthest thing from the minds of people like Nancy Pelosi. These people have their eyes set on the prize of the freedom of the United States of America. They want control. They want to totally enslave us through their forms of government. And to do it, they'll even be as shameless as to quote from the Bible, as to quote the Lord Jesus Christ. What kind of scum have we allowed to creep through the cracks in Washington?
And hypocrites. And, you go back to the hypocrisy. Here you have Omar that won't denounce Al-Qaeda. She makes anti-Semitic remarks, is not rebuked for it. You have others doing fundraisers for Hamas and Hezbollah. You've got another one saying, well, if you're a black face or a brown face, you better have the voices or else you don't count. And that's not inflammatory. That's not inciting stuff. That's not racist.
Even worse, the media is they're attempting to make heroes out of ignorance, out of, Lord, AOC makes me nuts. I can't even, what do we got? We've got a 29-year-old barmaid who doesn't even know the three branches of government, and she's up there. And we have all of these people who hate this country. They hate freedom. You've got your overt radical Muslims up there in the Congress now. And, of course, the goal of Sharia is total world domination, every bit as much as Nazi Germany. And we've got them in our government. Our enemies are the Congress. They make me nuts. That's about it. You keep up the good work, and hey, don't you let up on that food tax.
We won't.
We've been lied to once. If they lie a second time, we really need to issue a recall petition and take people like Brad Little out of their job. Let him go back to his little ranch, and he's rich. He doesn't care. All he wants is the power. He's got enough money. I'm done with that. Thank you. You take care.
All right, Max. Thank you for the call. Coming up next, what do women think of the president's tweets? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Saying that if they hate America so much, because what we're seeing out of them and hearing out of them, they hate America. If it's so bad, there's a lot of places they can go.
I'm a brown-skinned woman. I am a legal immigrant. I agree with him.
You don't think that's racist to say that?
Not at all.
Where you
No.
Actually, I think it's it's a demonstration of how their ideology spills over, even though they're American now, so to speak.
Good morning. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. So CNN, the devious little liberals, decided we're going to go talk to some women. We're going to talk to some Republican women, and they're going to denounce President Trump because he's a sexist, he's a xenophobe, he's a racist. All while quoting the Good Samaritan in the Bible. No, that's Nancy Pelosi. So CNN goes to Dallas, Texas. Remember, Texas is the purple state. It's not a red state anymore because we flooded the state with all these folks coming in, voting illegally, and now we're going to talk to some women, and they're going to condemn President Trump. Uh-oh. Well, here's what happened.
They're not acting American.
I'm glad that the president said what he said, because all they're doing is they're inciting hatred and division, and that's not what our country's about. It's not about that at all. And
Isn't that what the president does with some of his own comments? His own racist comments?
But he didn't say anything about color.
We know the president is not racist. He loves people from, Hispanics to black people all across the board.
Let me just share with you
the president is not racist. Somebody should give the memo to AOC and everybody else, and the media's double standard. Now, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, CNN doesn't know what to do with these ladies compared to other people in the media. Well, why don't we do this? Let's get you to traffic and weather on KIDO Talk Radio, and I'll share with you how the media is portraying this story. Once again, the media is public enemy number one when it comes to defending the truth. Kevin Miller in the morning, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave.
I don't have a racist bone in my body, but the firestorm over his racist tweets is only growing. The president telling 4 congresswomen of color to go back to the countries they came from. Most Republicans have been trying to avoid the issue entirely. Are these attacks good politics? Are they good for Republicans?
Let's find out. No, I don't think they're. First of all, I don't think they're attacks.
They're not attacks? Him saying they should go back to their country isn't an attack?
No.
No. The media isn't reporting the news. They're perpetrating the news. So they're going after the politicians. This is ABC, NBC, CBS. Thanks to our friends at Newsbusters on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning. Okay, enough mentions of the station me. Here we have these reporters. Aren't you outraged? The racist tweets. So if you say, objectively, do we have the tweets? Let's paraphrase. Facts are overrated. If you don't love America, you need to go home. If you don't love Idaho, you need to go home. Love it or leave it. You can contrast that with this land is your land, this land is my land. However, the president, where was the racist things? I can tell you the racist things that those congresswomen have said. You've got Presley, as we said at the Netroots convention. What is that? Who cares what it is? Saying that if you're black or brown and you're a black or brown face, you better have those voices. She's tired of people not backing up her and the allegations that Nancy Pelosi, the grand madam of the House, is a racist. Pelosi, remember, a couple weeks ago had to defend herself because Cortez implied that she was an old racist white woman. You're going, man, dude, this is crazy. This is, as Rachel Sutherland said earlier, this is Jerry Springer stuff. So here you have these women on CNN going, well, let's take a listen.
Definition of racism from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. A belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race.
So CNN is so desperate to get these women to condemn the president that they go to the Webster's Dictionary about what is a racist. You've got to be kidding me. Now, ABC, NBC, they don't have a problem perpetrating the story. As I've said before, our great friend Sean Hannity, catch him every afternoon at 3. Journalism is dead. We on that. The media is public enemy number one when it comes to the truth. They have their own sick, twisted agenda. And our job is to be the truth detectors in the world we live in, brothers and sisters. Won't you join us? Let's ride to the sound of the guns. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.